This is Wiggum from Clan Reddit Omega giving you a recap of war number 201. So we were matched up with a random Korean clan, and you can see that we got a couple Town Hall 10 3-stars, left a couple stars on Town Hall 10s, but then we wiped the floor with the remaining Town Hall 9 and Town Hall 8 bases for a total of 57 out of 60 stars, so a very impressive win. I want to show you 6 attacks from this war, and we'll start with Juny taking on base number 1. So I should tell you that Juny has hit this base before. If you look in our channel, you're going to see at least one other video, probably 2 other videos, with him 3-starring a base exactly like this. What's surprising is how easy he makes it look. So he's going to do an AQ walk to take out 1 air defense. Watch his use of wall breakers. That's what I find particularly interesting. So naked wall breakers go in, they take out the walls before they themselves are killed by that archer tower, opens up a spot for the queen to go in that gap. Now more wall breakers, and you notice they take out not only the compartment that the AQ's in, but the next compartment as well. So this barbarian king's going to path straight into the archer queen, and at the same time, conveniently, he's going to be perfectly placed to take out a 2nd air defense. And if he doesn't, the archer queen does. And now 2 air defenses are down. Quite a bit of the base is down. The CC is spawned, and Juny sees that it is not going to affect his LaLoon attack, and so he starts his LaLoon attack, dropping a huge number, really, of loons on those remaining defenses. And you notice that the way this base is currently shaped, they're going to path perfectly toward the core. So he's got a couple of haste spells that he's deployed, drops a rage right on the core. That's where he wants to concentrate his damage. And then 2 freezes, 1 for each Inferno tower, right when the loons arrive and the hounds arrive. So you see there's still 1 hound left, and pretty much all the defenses are down. So it's just a very straightforward cleanup from here. Archer Queen's still up, still being healed. She's at full health, and everything is moving in the direction of the remaining buildings. That's very important. Loons are quite slow. Pups are faster, obviously, but loons are quite slow. So you want to make sure everything's pathing in the right direction. And he just used his archer that he's stuck in there to fill up his troop slot to help shape as well. So excellent attack, and something he's done several times and has become very, very proficient at. He likes to say that he finds things to exploit in bases. I like to say that he's just very skilled at attacking certain bases. Next attack comes from Kip. Now, we had tried to 3-star this base a couple of times. The Town Hall 10s took care of business, got 2 stars on their attacks very quickly. So this attack looks very well rehearsed, but it's because Kip had a scout that looked very similar to this attack. So you see, similar approach to Juny. Although he doesn't use healers, he just uses a queen thrust, essentially an unsupported queen, to take out 1 air defense, and she's actually going to take out a couple of other defenses as well. While he is doing that, he's got his barbarian king split to take out a compartment with a 2nd air defense. And you notice his heroes are not maxed, kind of far from it, but he takes out the 2nd air defense, and now he pre-drops his haste, drops his hounds, and you see his loons are going to path directly into those air defenses. So again, the only major concern is going to be the Infernos, and what do we do for the Infernos? We freeze them. Not only do we freeze them, but we also freeze the Archer Queen with them. And you'll actually note he's going to hold this 2nd freeze, and he didn't use it to freeze the 1st Inferno. He's going to use it to freeze the Archer Queen again, right there. Perfect. So by now, the point defenses are pretty much all down. His Archer Queen is still alive. She was taking care of some trash buildings up north, and because of that, she's still alive. And now Kip's Archer Queen and pups and loons can proceed to clean up this base. So they're going to work on that Barbarian King first. Takes forever because he walks around, but the queen was nice enough to destroy one of the lava hounds to spawn some pups. And as you can see, it's a very quick cleanup from this point. You have the loons taking out the high hit point storages. That's perfect. You have the pups taking out some of the lower hit point buildings. And the Archer Queen comes in to finish the job. Just a great attack. Goes very smoothly. And it just shows the power of having solid 2 stars on your first attacks so that you free up attempts to 3. I think this was the second or third 3-star attempt on this base. And the third time was a charm. Next attack is T doing a cleanup on their number 7. Now, we did have a good scout on this base. We knew that there was a hound in the CC, so he drops 4 lightning spells, takes out the Archer Queen, takes out an air defense, and then he's just going to Penta La Lune behind this. Dropping the loons in a surgical or needle fashion, assigning 2 on each point defense. And you see he's shaping them toward those air defenses into the middle of the base. And he still has 1 hound that he hasn't deployed yet. Now he only has 1 haste spell. But when you have Penta, that's actually better because that gives the hounds longer to soak damage and actually spawn pups, because if you take out defenses too quickly, then they actually won't spawn any pups, and that will slow your cleanup down significantly. So there's literally nothing that can oppose him at this point, and now he drops his heroes. Oh, there's my Barbarian King. Archer Queen still hasn't gone down. Oh, there she goes down to help, just helping clean up. Frankly, he could have done this attack without any heroes at all, and it would have had the same result. It just would have taken a little bit longer. So we'll go ahead and speed through the cleanup. You'll notice that he has 1 hound left out of his original 5. So that gives him quite a few pups to clean up, and they all run to the same direction, take out that corner hut, and then done. When I saw this attack, I just laughed my butt off, because when you talk about exploiting a base's weakness, T just shows perfectly how to do that, particularly on a scout. Oftentimes CC hounds are quite annoying for a fresh attack, but for a cleanup attack, they can often be exploited using the healer archer trick, as we showed in the last recap, and then here just completely ignoring them. Okay, the 4th attack I want to show you comes from ApexSouthpaw against their number 11, and Apex uses a quite complicated strategy, at least composition, but he uses it beautifully. So he starts with an AQ walk, and the reason why he does this is because he can take out the enemy Archer Queen, he can take out the Clan Castle, and he could probably take out the Barbarian King with just his AQ walk and some defenses. Obviously, those are all very important things to get. So drops a hound that spawns the Clan Castle. Now he's going to go ahead and drop some golems on the northeast side. It is possible to do attacks like this with AQ walks that take out heroes without golems. You could do a golemless attack with just a bunch of hogs. But in this case, Apex is attacking this base fresh, doesn't know where giant bombs are, has a suspicion, but wants to make sure. And he drops a couple of Valks here. And I don't know if there's a name for this. I kind of call it tactical Valks, because you drop them in with a very specific idea of what they're going to take out. Sometimes you drop many Valks, and the idea is you're just going to take out the core. Here, he drops a few with a couple of point defenses in mind. And Valks actually make a lot of sense. They take out giant bombs and live, unlike many other troops. They work well under a heal. And you'll notice these skelly traps are instantly killed. So he's already dropped some hogs, and he's dropped some heals for them, goes ahead and drops his remaining hogs. All he has left are a couple of cleanup wizards to drop. The hogs are proceeding around the exterior of the base. He goes ahead and heals that 3rd giant bomb spot, so it looks like we're looking at 4 single giant bombs along with 4 Teslas. This is a fairly common kind of symmetrical net-based design. People are really fond of their symmetry, and sometimes often that's exploitable. And from here, yes, he spawns that last giant bomb, and it takes out a few of his hogs, but his queen is still at full health. His king is now getting healed. Just makes his next raid faster, I suppose. And by the end of the raid, both heroes are at full health, and he just drops a swag poison for laughs. So this was a very impressive composition. Really meticulous planning here, figuring out and how to roll for everything. Every troop had a purpose. And that's always nice to see. And I say that as someone who just makes standard Goho armies all the time, and I just say, well, I'm going to make my 11 wizards and 3 wall breakers and a bunch of hogs, and I'm just going to make it work. Apex actually carefully plans his army, which I admire. Okay, next attack is Bradpiff on their number 15. And you notice he has a Penta trained. Now, the reason he has Penta trained is because the hero positioning here is very exploitable. So what he's going to do is he's going to send in his Barbarian King to suicide on the enemy Archer Queen. Now, that's a pretty common tactic when you leave your Archer Queen exposed like that. King's just going to run in there, rage pretty soon, and murder her. But what he also does, and this isn't something that you see very often, is he uses a Suicide Archer Queen as well to take out the CC. So there's a CC Dragon, and I guess there are a couple of loons in there as well. The loons don't spawn for air, and he doesn't really care about that because he is following this with a Penta La Lune, and so the loons in the clan castle are never even going to spawn. So he does this in kind of a wall fashion, just a wall of loons proceeding across the base, and he's got a ton of rage spells here. I mentioned in the video with T that sometimes it doesn't make sense to use rages or haste because you want your hounds to actually have the time to die. In this case, though, Brad is leaving up all 4 air defenses, whereas T only left up 3 air defenses. So in that sense, you definitely do want to use your spells to get your loons through the base quicker. And he even saves a couple of loons for cleanup, and watch how he drops them. He's going to drop them on the highest hit point buildings that are the farthest away from his current loons. So he drops one on a gold storage, and then he's going to drop one on another gold storage, and then final one on a dark elixir storage, which is the highest hit point building other than the town hall. So very smart usage of those cleanup loons. And you see his army is all converging on the same side of the base. And even though loons are very slow, when you only give them one direction to go, they are very proficient at cleanup. And so a very beautiful attack and very well read. So we've seen a couple of instances where Penta La Lune, which had fallen out of favor because of the advent of air sweepers, has been used on bases where they are easy to exploit with Penta La Lune. And for our final attack, I want to show you another such instance, and this is by Shomi. Now, Shomi and I were looking over this base, and we were trying to come up with a plan for it, for a fresh attack. And when you look at it, there are a lot of potential double giant bomb spots, and so that makes hogging somewhat difficult. But there is an exploitable Archer Queen position, and there is a very favorable loon pathing, and you see that the air defenses are not Town Hall 9 maxed. In fact, one of them is only level 4. So I advocated that Shomi approach this with the Penta La Lune and a Suicide Barbarian King, and he was a little reluctant because he's never done a La Lune attack before. But whenever you see a base like this, it's best to just attack it with the very best army for its layout, and in this case, LaLoon is a no-brainer. So watch how he does this. First a giant. This is going to spawn the clan castle. This was a fresh attack, so we had no idea what was in it. Now he's going to use an anchor archer to pull that clan castle down south. He's going to use his Archer Queen here to take out the dragon and the loons. Drop some barbarians to distract that dragon so it isn't hitting the Archer Queen. Go ahead and drop his poison. And then his Barbarian King runs in directly for that Archer Queen and takes her out. So the CC is down, the Archer Queen is down, there is no obstacle now to loon attack. So 2 loons on each point defense here, with an additional 2 on that southern air defense. You see they're going to path up to the air defense. And he has rage spells. Remember, no air defenses were taken down by his kill squad, so it makes sense to use rages to take out remaining defenses. Now there are some air skeletons here. They are going to do a little bit of damage, take out a few of the loons, but it just doesn't matter. So the lesson here is when you face clans, particularly in random matchups, and they use bad bases, the question is how to exploit it. And you could look at the bases and say, well, I could use my favored strategy, whatever that is, and it's going to be effective because these bases are so bad. And that's possible. But it's possible also that you'll end up with a 1 or 2 star because of an unfavorable giant bomb explosion or CC composition or something of that nature. Or you could just look at it and say, well, X strat will crush this base, and then you use that strat. In this war, I think we make a pretty strong case that the latter is a better approach when you're dealing with weak bases. Obviously, when you're dealing with strong bases, you want to use the best strategy and something you're comfortable with. But in this war, you can tell from the map, we cleared things quite clearly. In fact, we cleared things so quickly that there were a number of people who just did practice attacks with their second attack. So, hope you enjoyed this video. And again, shout out to all the people who had 6-star efforts, and particular kudos to our Town Hall 10s for their excellent work in 2-starring and then devising strategies to 3-starring. They are getting better by the war, and it's a pleasure to witness. Hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned for recaps of future wars.